Farts. Old farts. Two old farts. Steve and Dave. Sometimes you find a diamond in the rough. Not this time, though. This is just rough. Two old farts. There is no better waste of time. Two guys. Two old guys. A lot of BS and more drivel than you can shake a stick at. Steve and Dave. God help us.
Well, that is exciting. So hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. It's 2023, or as we're telling everybody it is. And our first show of the new year is with two of our favorite people, Kimchi Chick, a.k.a. Rachel Park, but her parents don't like us to mention her real name because we're a mess. And the big guy, Roll Woods, aka apparently the boss, not His Royal Highness today. So Mr. David can't be here today because, you know, he's old and he stayed up late, 9 o'clock, and he can't get up. So he will not join us today. But Mr. Roll will be joining us, and here he is. Happy New Year. How you doing?
Well, I love you. I love the imaging as you start. That guy is great. Wow.
That voiceover guy. He's my favorite voiceover guy in the world.
You should give him you should pay him a lot of money.
And you know, we pay him with love.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. You know. Okay, yeah. Just so you know, as far as I know with that voiceover guy, because we're so tight with him, and he did that for free, and we love him to death. And I think it was you actually was the voiceover guy. So from that, you'll probably get hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of work.
Tens of dollars.
Tens of dollars. We're very excited about that. Very excited. Don't spend it all in one spot.
I see you haven't used the one, which my favorite was, what was it? Two old farts plunging the depths of humanity's futility. I like that.
I like that one too. I actually like all of them, and maybe throughout the show today we'll play all 8 or 9 that you did. But David took that one and made it into a cartoon for us.
Yeah, that's great. He did good work.
He's very good at that. You know, if you could actually get up, that would be awesome. But yeah, who are we to argue with a guy that's a million years old? So it's like a Mel Brooks. It's a bad Mel Brooks movie. All right, so we're gonna bring in Miss Park, better known as Kimchi Chick, because she has a kimchi company. So we call her Kimchi Chick. One day she's gonna show us how to make kimchi, by the way. But today's show,
are we calling a grown-ass woman chick? Is that what we're doing?
Is that politically incorrect? Because if it is, I'm definitely calling her Kimchi
I'm not
Chick.
A chick. Yeah. I'm not a woman. I'm throwing it out there. We should ask
I don't know. We can ask her. Let's go. AKA, there is Miss Rachel, half awake from her bed. She was nice enough to tell me this morning that
a chick. I said I'm a kimchi chick.
Okay, well that's fine then. Yeah,
she's a kimchi chick.
Whatever you like.
Nice of you to consider that.
Nice of you to consider that. You know, she's only 23, so that's why she's a kimchi chick. So. And as you can tell, she's made a big effort to join the show this morning.
I know. I was trying to follow along. I just realized he's the voiceover.
Okay. He's the role. Yes, he's world famous. He's AKA world voice guy. Yes, you are.
No,
please,
I was gonna say, wait, he gets paid to do this? No,
he gets paid love. He gets paid love.
Well, it's not my face that makes my fortune, that's for sure.
Yes, he gets paid. He gets paid with love. Rachel, we can always negotiate, just like he did. He drove a very hard bargain. So these baseball caps with our logo. You did baseball caps with our logo are on their way. So there you go.
All right, got it. That's what yeah. Prepare your sneakers. I'll take a pair of your sneakers.
Oh, the yellow ones that you liked? My K-pop yellow.
I know you've had some new ones too. I know you've gotten some new ones. So
yes, I have. Apparently, I now, because of one of our guests, I've become a sneaker.
Yeah, I just like to make people cry and take things that they really like. So.
Wow, that is awesome. Hey, if you want to take David, feel free. I'm not going to cry. So feel free to take David. So
things that you really like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, don't can't take David. So Dave, I think your mic's excited there, Roll. Okay, so today's show is because the reason we have you on it, and we always invite Kimchi Chick, but she can never get out of bed, or she's busy sleeping, and she can never get out of bed because she misses a lot of shows.
Sorry,
okay. I'm not. Just so we're clear, I'm not the one sitting in my bed right now doing the show in my pajamas.
Also, part of it is because I have a full house.
Congratulations. I love that show. Bob Saget, the kids, they were great. So.
But I can't go. Oh, and there's my dog going off.
Okay. Okay. So you have people in for the holidays then.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's nice. Yeah.
I was either from my bed or from the cars, and it's freezing outside. So
Yes.
I said no.
Okay. Well, one day she'll actually do the show with you and I, David and John and whatever, and that will just be a show that'll with the new format that we'll discuss on another show. Anyway, this show, because Rachel is, and I don't care what she says, a K-pop crazy person. And Roll, your daughter is like a K-pop crazy person. I figured this would be
a stan. They call them stans, Steve.
We're
Stans.
Yeah,
Stans, like STANS.
Oh yeah, and that's a big thing. Stan.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
somebody wasn't paying attention to the other K-pop shows, even though
Probably
they were
not.
there.
I probably slept through the other K-pop shows.
We have mentioned K-pop stans.
Okay. Listen, you're lucky.
I wasn't taking notes.
I'm taking notes today. I got a pen. So we have the stands, and so I understand that I read an article, and this is what got me on this K-pop thing for this show, is that the K-pop people, groups, stands, whatever, they want to now start getting involved with climate change, cleaning up the environment, and making the world a better place. So I find that interesting. So my real question is then, like, what are they doing? And then we could talk about the different groups and all the acronyms and whatnot. What is our thoughts on that? Because I'm thinking everybody's trying to do that, but why are they making it like it's like they're it?
Well, they have so much influence.
Okay.
They have a lot of influence, and I know that one group that I follow, they were doing they collaborated with like I don't know the acronyms, but it's some sort of like environmental group. And if you watch anything or like tours of theirs or something, it donates towards their community or cleanup or was it clean water? I can't remember.
So they're trying to do like a zero emission tour type of thing. Is that kind of what we're at?
Something like that, or sales from their merchandise or something.
Okay.
Or they do a special program or special things with them. Promotion.
This is a great scam. Two Old Farts is going to be carbon neutral now. And if you donate to our favorite charity, Two Old Farts, then we'll make sure.
All of them isn't even about money or stuff. It's just about the influence. They have some influence. So if they're saying we're going to try to go green ourselves as a as a group, then anyone who is our fan base, let's try to go green yourselves too. And I mean, I try to live a green life, but how many people can I influence except for my immediate family and friends?
Well, with our 12 fans globally, you influence our 12 fans globally now. I mean,
so
13. There's another
13?
one.
There's another one? Okay, 13. Very good.
So,
there you go.
These K-pop groups have such a huge fan base worldwide. Okay. So it's influence. They're idols.
They're taking off, Steve. K-pop is a massive, it is growing so fast. And it's not just what I find quite disingenuous is people just think, well, it's just Korea. It's not. It's I mean, that's how it began. That's the K-pop part of it. But it's a global thing. I mean, they've crept into all the charts around the world, and it is a bona fide style. And they've got their work output is unparalleled. I mean, Stray Kids. These kids are like 22, 23. And they've got a body of work that rivals the Stones. I mean, they literally, there's so much stuff that they have done. It's intense. It is absolutely, even if you don't like the music, you have to respect how much work goes into it. It is unbelievable.
Very cool. So let me ask you this then, the top 5, because I know your daughter has her groups that she likes, and Rachel, you and your friends have the groups that you like. In fact, last show we did with Rachel, one of her friends was actually in Korea stalking the K-pop groups, and apparently there's a restraining order. But it was very interesting. That's not what happened. Okay, that's what we told everybody. Anyway, so it's in the news. Yeah, we made the news. But so what are the in your daughter's world? What are her top 3 or 4 groups? And then Rachel, in your world, what's now the 3 or 4 groups that it's like these are the groups you must follow?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me clarify. When you're a stan in K-pop, it is certainly my understanding anyway. I'm not one, but I'm a parent of one. And the music, as I said, the work ethic's incredible. There's no list, Steve. Her top 3 are Stray Kids, and Stray Kids. That's it.
Okay.
No.
There
That's
is no other.
that's one if you're just for one group.
Oh yeah,
They are
that's
multi-stan.
it. That's it. She
They are
knows the others, but
yeah.
that's it for her.
So my friends and I, we are multi-stans. So
Okay.
we have
That sounds dirty, and I
multiple
like it.
groups. So I am the last show we did, I had my fandom name, which is ID Con Baby, because those are the three groups that I stan, and they go in the order of 1 to 3, which is I'm an ID, which is a solo artist who is part of a group and he became a solo artist. So there's BI, which is ID, his fandom name. There's Icon, which is Iconics, are the fandom name, and Monster X, which is the Mon Baby. So I don't know the Stray Kids fandom name. Stays, I think they're called Stays.
If she was here, she would know it. That I don't know.
You didn't do
There
your
is one.
research
There is one.
correctly.
The only one I know.
I believe they're called Stays, but I'm
Okay.
not sure.
I would say.
Okay.
The only one I know, which is really cool, is the outfit that is actually Steve. They were just to highlight their global appeal.
Right.
They're the entertainers of the year, Time Entertainers of the Year, and that's Blackpink. And
Blackpink.
and I
Oh,
believe
okay.
they are called Blinks, something like that. Blinks.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, that's not just it's not a little niche thing. It is a
So no,
wide,
I know
wide
it's a
appeal.
global phenomenon. So my question is like, and I know that I've seen, and Rachel invited me to go to one of these K-pop concerts one day. So I'm very excited about that if they, ever come to like North America again. No, I'm just kidding.
They're
So
always here.
I'm aware. So there's the boy bands and then there's the girl bands.
Mhm.
And I'm fascinated by that. So I'm trying, like, the girl bands remind me of Britney Spears whenever she was famous in the 90s or the 80s or 70s or whenever, right? When she wore a little schoolgirl outfit. Because every time I see a female K-pop group, they literally dress like schoolgirls. And then when I look at the guys of the K-pop, they dress like kind of like what Rachel saw me that one night in my, my K-pop sneakers and my little black outfit. So is it sex selling? Is the music that good, or is it just it's the show, or it's a combination of everything?
You want to answer that, Rachel?
I mean, sex
For
sells
you, Rachel.
everywhere, does it not?
That's why people watch the show. I understand it.
And
So,
that's that's the part where it gets a little strange because,
Okay.
like, let's say you walk around in Korea dressed like a K-pop female group, you would get looked at, and you would get comments from people. But when it comes to K-pop idols, you expect them to be a certain look, a certain height, dressed a certain way. So it's kind of strange. I don't know.
I was just wondering. I mean, because I think I'm fascinated by the whole phenomena, and I'm trying to see if it's going to be like the boy bands of the '80s or the '90s. I forget when it is. They all run together now here in the States, where they were
Steve,
global and died.
Steve, here's an interesting thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's the same, but the way I look at it in my limited, knowledge, my limited understanding of K-pop and the way I mean, it's run like a business. You have to know that. It's a
Right.
multi-tiered, it's a big, huge business. And these kids are going, there's hundreds of them, I think, but the hit rate's like 5%. But the ones that make it are big. But it's a short period of time that they have to capitalize on it. And I know obviously the guys have that military thing that comes along, like the BTS guys have now, the one chap's in there, and they have to put the whole thing on hold. So it's very commercial. It's hyper commercial in a way. It's I mean, back in the 80s, you had a Stock Aitken and Waterman in the UK putting out Rick Astley, Jason Donovan, Kylie Minogue. I wouldn't say it's the same, but it's the same idea of just, I don't know, working music, getting out there, seeing what people want, add water, mix, stir, there you go. There is from someone who watches it, there is a uniformity, I feel, of K-pop. There's definitely a look, but having listened to a lot of Stray Kids stuff, because my daughter has exposed me to that, what is certainly, and Rachel may have definitely got a viewpoint on this, they seem to be quite different in a sense that these guys, their music is their own. They very much a self-driven entity, whereas guys like BTS, there's a lot of writers involved for them. I may be talking nonsense here, but that's certainly what I understand. That's certainly why she likes Stray Kids. They're very much these are genuine artists. They are self-driven. They write their own stuff, and they work their butts off. BTS is obviously huge, obviously, but they seem to be part of a more traditional thing where you have other writers that write for them. So I don't know exactly what their songwriting abilities are, BTS
No,
per se.
they
But
actually write a lot of their own
I
stuff.
know that
No,
Stray
no.
Kids
Army's
are
gonna come
very much.
after you. They're gonna
Oh,
come
the
after
army's going to come after you, all. This is the.
you.
Oh.
BTS, they do write a lot of their own stuff, especially their rappers. Rappers always write their own rap lines.
Okay.
And they've had their own singles, BTS members, where they work on it's their own music, it's their own stuff. But because they're so big, they do a lot of collaborations, and that's where like other producers and other
Fair enough.
things come
Well, that
in.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
but
claim to be an expert. Just being fed this information
yeah,
by a Stray Kids fan.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm not
Who
gonna
is,
because
yeah.
I'm not a huge BTS person, but I'm not gonna take away from the huge amount of success that they've had, what they've done for K-pop in Korea, um, the hard work that they put in. Yes, are they like more cookie cutter-ish? Sure. But each group puts in so much dedication and work.
Yeah.
And from such a young age, because we've talked about it, they have to go into these training facilities, dormitories, away from their families from like 10, 11, 12 years old until they debut.
Crazy.
And so their life is eat, sleep, waking up, dream, everything is dedicated to this life. So
Yeah, I mean, I've got my exposure obviously is limited to very much to Stray Kids because of
yeah.
who has lots to say about BTS. So I do not claim to be any kind of authority on BTS. I mean, I will say, which did kind of annoy her a little. I'm obviously more aware of BTS because they're a bigger outfit. They've been around longer. In a way, they've been a path creator. They're the first to appear on some of the late night shows in the US.
Right.
They've cracked the American market before anybody else. So you could say that whatever Stray Kids do now, and this will annoy the hell out of her, is very much to do with BTS having, I guess, in a way, woken
But that's
up
what I'm saying.
markets to K-pop.
That's why I have to give BTS, even though I'm not a fan of them and they kind of annoy me too. They you have to give them.
Rachel lives in Los Angeles. If anybody's looking for her from the BTS Army, just letting you all know.
No, but that's one thing you have to give them the proper credit. They did do a huge, thing for Korea itself, tourism in Korea, and just bringing K-pop to the world.
Yeah.
And before they had more catchy like songs that I actually was like, oh, I like this. Now it's more like, oh, yeah. But their earlier stuff, I was like, oh yeah, this is good. I like this. So
you're saying they've been commercialized badly?
Huh?
You're saying they've kind of gone a bit commercial and maybe it's taken something away from them?
I think they had no choice but to because they became so big.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're huge. They're the biggest, as far as I know. So everyone's going to have something to say about the biggest, obviously.
So, but yeah, each group like that I like my ultimate is BI. And when he was with Icon, he was the leader of the group and he produced and wrote most of their whole albums all the time. And as a solo artist now, he produces all his own music and he writes all his music, but he collaborates with a lot of artists. Like he just had a huge song that went like people were, because he also is a great dancer. They were doing his dance challenges, and it was a collaboration with Soulja Boy. Although I don't really like Soulja Boy, but he's got collaborations with a lot of well-known producers from America. So like he does his own stuff, but he also appreciates great work from other people. So he likes to collaborate and kind of make great music together.
Okay.
I like that.
Steve?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm fascinated by the whole K-pop thing, but I think the thing that fascinates me more, it's almost like national pride for the Koreans.
Oh,
Where
Koreans
when
have so much pride,
right,
so much national pride.
I know they got kimchi. But no, I'm being like when you listen to K-pop or you speak to someone, they all know it. But when like you had whatever the boy bands were here in the 90s, right? Or in the 80s or whenever they were, it wasn't like a US, oh, we have this, but the Koreans are very proud of it. And I remember when BTS had to serve for their military, they were all like, but we're a national treasure. And that didn't fly with the Korean Supreme Court. But I think it's very cool that the Koreans are looking at this as the way that they can export their culture. So I find to
Yeah.
me that's fascinating because
Well,
really, um, when we do something in America, like no one's thrilled at Taylor Swift, like Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift. It's not like we're exporting America. It's Taylor Swift singing songs, like the Rolling Stones is exporting the UK
So
or these
yeah,
other, but K-pop is very much a national pride.
it's because Korea is such a small country. If you look at it
Right.
on the map, it's a small country.
Yeah.
And compared to the US, the US is so big. So if you're a star in the US, you are kind of a star globally.
Right.
Like people know NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, like growing up with they were global. People just knew
Right.
them. People knew Britney Spears from all over the world. They toured all over the world. So it was just
But
kind of
don't
like a
but they all tour all over, like the Stones, AC/DC,
right.
Aerosmith, like they all tour.
That's what I'm saying.
But
It was just
but
kind of given.
K-pop's different though. K-pop is
K-pop
sort
Korean
of like
stars didn't tour everywhere. K-pop
yeah,
groups didn't tour in the US that much. If they
right,
did, it was in select places like where there's a huge Korean community,
right,
and it was at like Korean stuff. It wasn't like they got to tour the US or tour France or tour like Europe. There was something called Hallyu stars, which is like Hallyu was like Asia.
right,
So you were part of the Hallyu wave or the Asian tour where you go to Japan, China, Indonesia, Philippines. It's just like Asia. So now
right.
that it's like global and everywhere, people in Russia know them. People in like South Africa know them. People, it's that's why it's like wow, we're such a small country. That's Korea's like we're so proud of what they
Right.
have done and achieved, and not just the women have always been um, looked at I don't know, fetish side, whatever. But
Well, hey now, let's remind
Korean
me to
men,
come back to that. So
um, but because there is a Korean man fetish now, I think. But Korean men were always looked at like lesser in a sense, like not masculine at all, not sexy, not charismatic, not strong, not, there was always this stigma. And as people started getting into K-pop, they're like, "Wow, these men are beautiful and they are strong. They're built." There is no K-pop guy that does not have a six pack. They're built. They may be leaner, but they're like strong. And it's like women are like, "Ah, that I want, this guy or that guy." And it's like, wow, Korean men are getting their proper
their dues
credit now. Yeah.
instead of
So
having an Asian fetish, is what you're trying to say about the Korean women that men have Asian fetishes, and that's the thing.
So no, there is a thing now. There is
Right.
sometimes I know in Korea a lot of the people that live in Korea that are Korean nationals, they get a little like a lot of women coming to Korea looking for a Korean boyfriend. They're like they say opar. They're looking for an opar, and it's
Okay.
they think they're all gonna be like K-pop men or something. But it's like it's a bit in a sense of like fetishizing.
Okay.
But it's or fantasizing, but
Fantasizing. Okay.
it's,
But to
it's
go to
great. I say, "Hey, it's
right.
great."
But to go to your point, though, I think the only thing that relates to K-pop in the music in the last, say, 60 or 70 years, maybe would be the Beatles. Because that phenomenon, I think the UK was like, they're our
Mhm,
product. But
mhm.
because all these bands tour and people know them, but like nobody cares. But I think in the UK, like the Beatles were like, they're the Beatles. And wow. And I think, that's what K-pop is for the Koreans, but no one cared that the Rolling Stones were from the UK. And I mean, like if you start looking where all these bands are from that were huge at some point, or even the solo artists, no one goes, they're a singer. But K-pop seems to be very centralized into it's Korean pop, and it's Korea, it's Korea, and it's Korea. So I think that's a big thing.
I think, if I may say, I think what is, and it's just an observation, is it's not just K-pop. It's the whole Korean entertainment thing is just
Right.
ballooned. And I mean, you got things like obviously Squid Game. You've got Parasite. What was that? It was the first non-English movie to win a Academy Award, things like that. So it's just part of a growth that the country, I think, has seen. I mean, K-pop, as far as I know, has been around for a long time. It's only now that everybody in the West, if you like, is going, wow, what is this? And I guess everybody's going, okay, so maybe we can make some money out of this and let's
Right.
commercialize it. And they've doubled down on it, and they've really turned this into a fantastic business. And I got to say, it to me, I look at it and I just think K-pop, as I say, it's just someone observing. It just seems part of a larger thing where business, entertainment. I mean, you said it's a small country. I mean, as far as I know, I could be wrong on this, but I think you can put South Korea 4 times into California, for instance. That's how such a tiny country has such a massive influence, which is quite unbelievable. So yeah, it's quite impressive. It's very
But to your
impressive.
point,
Yeah.
but to your point about Squid Game, then, so let's look at
Yeah.
it differently now. So globalization, then, and if you will, the Netflix of the world and the Amazons and the Apples
Yeah.
with their music and whatever. Because back in the day, you had to buy an album. So whether I guess I have to go to K Town in LA and I go, oh look, here's my K-pop. But now, whether you're a little white kid in Wisconsin, so to speak, right, or in Idaho or Utah, you can get K-pop on Amazon, on Apple, and the list will go
Yeah.
on. Or as your point, you can go watch Squid Game. So all of a sudden, you get to immerse yourself in a culture. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's also that might be helping it. Where back in the day, you didn't have that, right? You had to go to a record store or listen to it on the radio. I think that may also help, if you will, the globalization of all these
Definitely.
groups.
The tech
Yeah.
definitely helps.
Okay.
Because again, yeah, growing up in the 80s,
Right. 1880s? What do you think? Okay.
Oh.
Oh, you can't grow up in the 80s. You're like 20. So
I
don't
have no problem with my age.
I know how old you are. We don't tell people your age because they would be shocked. So
But, growing up in the 80s, if I wanted to listen to the Korean music, I had
right.
to wait, so there was these music shows, and each week the groups go on the show and people vote in to rank number one for that week and stuff. So we would get it like a week late or something. And my dad owned a video store, a Korean video store where, he would go and get these shows and rent them out, make copies, rent them out. So we had to wait. So we were always behind by like a week or a few days, and even for the
Gotcha.
Korean dramas and stuff. But yeah, it's always been around. We always knew it was great. It hooks you somehow. I don't know what it's a recipe with the dramas and the music, but it hooks you. And it was always great. And now that everyone knows about it, it's like, yeah, we've always known these are great.
Mhm.
And now we can share it. And that's where that pride that you were talking about is like, we're so proud because this has been around forever for us.
Right. But it goes to the globalization. If it wasn't for like Netflix, if you will, and bringing out the Squid Game, or if it
Mhm.
wasn't for, pick your favorite podcast where you get your music type of thing, then I think it would still be, got to go to dad's video store and get the tapes or watch whatever. I remember we'd go to Korean restaurants and they would have Korean television that they, paid for, and you would see the music or the movie or the this or that. And it was very cool, but they had no English subtitles. So you'd just be sitting there like the RCA dog. And now, because it is so global, they have all the subtitles. And I noticed that K-pop does it also not just in Korean, they also do it in English.
Mhm.
So it really is that global appeal. So I mean, I like that, the fact that and I understand globalization. So I think it's just very interesting now that the rest of the world in the last 5 years is catching up.
I have to say,
Yes.
the one thing that again, it's my opinion, I just hope that, I'm sure it won't, but I just hope that K-pop doesn't anglicize itself. My daughter and I were talking about this the other day, and she says she hopes that doesn't happen either, where maybe there's a feeling we've got to produce an English album or whatever to crack some of the English markets. And I've heard some of the stuff. She's played me some of the stuff where these K-pop outfits like BTS and so on have anglicized. They're going English. And I got to tell you, definitely loses something. I may not understand the language, although I've been exposed to a lot of the language through her. She's actually taught herself quite a bit. It loses something. I just hope they don't do that. That's something I really hope. And I understand globalization, and I understand the need to try and appeal to markets. But I think what is exciting for me about K-pop, and I'm not even I mean, I don't dislike it. It's something new for me too. Is that it's something different. It's something totally different. The approach is different. I mean, the drama is still drama. There's still great characters, but you go, oh, so that's a cool way of doing it. I mean, Squid Game was unbelievable because no one had ever really seen anything like that. It was so different. Is it better? I don't know. Yes. Is there some rubbish stuff? Sure. I'm sure eventually that'll come, but right now the novelty of it is fantastic, and I just hope. Because here in this country, in South Africa, there are a lot of people, we've got 11 languages, and there's this, a lot of the dramas, a lot of the writers feel the need to go English because they think that's going to broaden the appeal. And I just hope, that the entertainment, the music, all of that just stays the way it is. That's just me.
So I'm gonna, as a Korean American, the groups that I like, they do have American albums or English albums, global albums, which I really like them and I appreciate it. As long as they know what they're doing, as long as they're not just making up words. They actually, again, they're collaborating with people, but they study the words. They actually work on it to make sure that the music that they're making in English is what they really want to convey in Korean. And it's still, I really like it, but they still stay to, they have their regular Korean albums, and I think I don't think it's bad to have an English album here and there.
Here and there, sure.
Right.
Here and there.
And this is the thing, growing up, K-pop groups that I grew up with, they always had English in it. It was always a mixture because a lot of Korean Americans, nobody would take them in the industry in the States. So they went to Korea. They don't know how to speak Korean, but they want to do music. So they would be rappers for K-pop groups in Korea. And so they rapped in English. So it's always been part of K-pop to have some English in there. And
Interesting.
I guess the younger generation K-pop groups, when they started doing raps, it was mostly in Korean. So I was like, oh gosh, I can't follow this because my brain can't go that fast already with English rap or American rap. And then with Korean, I'm like, I don't know what they're saying. I have to like really, really listen and focus. So especially with my ADHD brain, it's like I want to be able to understand fully what the artist is saying so I can get a feel for what they're doing. But yeah, it's always been a mixture.
So today, when you buy an album or when you went to the last concert you went to, are they doing it 50-50, like English and Korean? Is it all Korean? Is it, I mean, other than like, hello, thank you for coming, that's in English. And then after that, how much of it is in Korean? Or do people not care because they're just there to jam out with the other fans?
So like the Monsta X concert that I went to I don't know, the Fort something in Texas.
Sure, let's go with that.
I can't remember the city. It's near Dallas.
Okay. Fort Worth?
They had their Fort Worth, that's it. Okay. They had, some of their English album songs.
Right.
But it was mostly in Korean. And then some of them would say things here in their comments here and there, they would say in English. Some are better at English than others, and some would just say everything in Korean and have a translator just translate it all. So, and then there's the most recent concert that I went to, the DPR concert, they're not Korean Americans, they're Korean Australians. I
Okay.
don't believe DPR Ian does not speak Korean well, I think. So most of his albums are all in English with some Korean thrown in there.
Right.
So let's say I were to become a K-pop artist myself,
Ooh.
most of my albums would probably be in English with a few Korean words here and there that I know put in there.
Dropped in. All right. So now you want to be a K-pop artist. Well, that's going to be a fun show. Rachel is a K-pop artist. We can't wait to,
No, but
we
that's
hope
how
that
it
it's your
was,
single.
with like not just the music, with actors.
Right.
Again, if you're a Korean American or anywhere in any country other than Korea, if you wanted to get into the entertainment business, growing up in the States, they weren't going to put me in the entertainment. I actually was trying to be an actress when I was younger.
All right.
Very limited in the roles that I can audition for or that they would even accept. So people like me would go to Korea to get
Right.
to break into the entertainment industry. And there is a actor, his name is Daniel Henney. He's now on an Amazon Prime show called The Wheel of Time.
Okay.
He was on CSI, I believe.
You're telling the story. We're just going with it.
It's a show. It's a crime like show, CSI.
Okay.
But
Sure.
he started. He's half Korean, half white.
Okay.
But again, it was hard for him because he still looked half. I guess it was hard for him to get into the industry in the States. So he went to Korea, became a model, became an actor. Can't speak Korean for anything because his mother was a Korean adoptee. So he didn't know any like Korean, and became a huge star in Korea, and then was able to come to the States and start, auditioning for things, because he now has this body of work in Korea, and things started to kind of change in the U.S. too. People who looked like me
Asian
started showing up more on
Right.
television.
That's, I think, because Hollywood, after what, 100 plus years, as they call it, woke. And I'm like, okay, but people are still people, so it doesn't matter. But I think that's the whole big thing now. It's like we have to have every color in every show now. So like you'll see some show and there'll be a black person, an Asian person, or this person, or that person. I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to be rude or anything, but like in the 14th century, in this period, it wasn't really what it was like, So I'm glad you're trying to include everybody, but can we, if we're gonna you're gonna do these mini docs, can we kind of I don't know, make it true to the thing? What you do with stuff that's made up, I could care less about. But it's very interesting now that they want to put everybody in because they don't want to offend anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of all right, we're taking it a little too far now. Let's just enjoy. Let's just have a good time. It's just acting. So I could care less who plays Queen Elizabeth. But if they put I think they put the black lady in for whatever that series was on Netflix, and I'm like, wait a second, she's supposed. Thank you. She's supposed to be a white chick, right? Whatever. So it's sort of like, and I watch enough Korean stuff or Chinese stuff, so there's tons of great stuff. I think it's very funny that Hollywood just feels all of a sudden now they have to.
I think they're trying to apologize for making
that's too late.
Johansson and what's the Emma Stone Asians when they weren't, and Mickey Rourke Asians.
Oh no, wait. How about what's his face? Matt Damon played a Chinese guy,
right?
In that one movie, and I was very believable.
That's their apology. That's Hollywood's apology.
I just think it's funny. It's the world. The world's a changing, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I get it.
Cool.
It's, again, if you're gonna be portraying Queen Elizabeth, let's get somebody that looked like Queen Elizabeth.
Some old white chick, Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. She's done my game. So,
or but there was that whole controversy with the Little Mermaid that's coming out.
It's a controversy with Little Mermaid. This will be good.
Little Mermaid that's going to be coming out because they cast Halle Berry, not Halle Berry, but Halle Berry that we know, but she's a younger actress.
Halle Berry, sure, okay.
And she's black.
Okay.
So people were like, "Wait a minute, Ariel is not black, but Ariel is a fictional made up character.
Ariel can be anything. Yeah, she could be
A
white,
mermaid
black,
can
green,
be.
Asian. Yeah,
Like, how do we
Oh,
know she's not blue or
I
green
know.
or, you know?
Well, the good thing is we don't have any blue or green people yet because, as we talked about on one show, well, the lizard people haven't come up to conquer the world. So until then, we just have the array of what we have here for people. But yes, a cartoon, I could care less. But when
Right.
you're literally trying to do a historical
Yeah, if
documentary
you're
or
doing a
even
historical
yeah,
figure,
like
let's be true to the figure.
like if we're doing the first emperor of China type of thing or the first emperor of Korea, I'm not playing that part, right? I am far from Asian. But if they're going to do like King George the Third, whoever the famous male Asian actor is, or black actor like a Denzel Washington, love you guys, but the guy wasn't black. Like, you know what I mean? Like, can we just stick to a little bit of it? I'm glad we're apologizing. It's very nice, right? It should have never happened. But can we put him in like things that don't matter, like a cartoon or an action movie? I don't care who's in the action movie. It's all made up. So you can have everybody there, transvestites. I don't care, whatever you want, but I don't care. But in something that's like, if you're doing like Watergate, Richard Nixon, got to be a white guy. Sorry, that's who it was.
To that, I do have like a sub opinion. Like if it's Broadway or stage work.
Okay, like Hamilton.
Yeah, I say, hey, anyone can be, because there's Lea Salonga. She's a Filipina. She voiced Aladdin's Jasmine. She voiced Mulan, singing voices.
Right.
And she was Eponine, I believe. And she did 2 characters from Les Miserables.
Les Miserable. Oh, yeah.
On
3
Broadway.
hours I'll never get back in my life.
The first original cast, she was cast, and it was huge because she was the first Asian person to be cast in like this huge Broadway production for a character that's not Asian.
Right.
And
in France, they're liberal.
But it's because her singing ability is amazing. So I think on stage, it's like, hey, whoever can sing the best, go for it.
Well, yeah, if you look at Hamilton, that would be, if you're really if they were going to be politically correct on the color, that's all wrong. But it's a great play. So I agree with you. I think Broadway's a little different because you go there to get immersed. I think a movie, or when they
about a figure, historical movie trying to talk about
but a Broadway musical, I just don't see Hamilton running around singing back in the 1700s and going, let me get on my horse. I don't see that, so I don't care. But yeah, some of the movies it'd be like, okay, let's just try to, I don't know, do the right thing, so to speak. So I don't know. That's just me. It's probably wrong. We'll probably get a letter from one of our 12 fans, and that's about it. But I think this was very cool. I have nothing else on K-pop. I was just fascinated by K-pop. I know Roll's daughter loves it, and I know you have always insight.
Well, it's
a good way to start the year. Yeah.
And again, as you said, it brought in. Roll was saying it's just not just K-pop. It's the food, the culture, the whole entertainment. Have you guys watched K-dramas?
Yes, and you get hooked from the first 3 seconds, even if you're reading the subtitles.
Yeah. And growing up, again, you can see 10 of the same recipe dramas where 2 people hate each other but somehow get stuck together and then fall in love, and it's like, oh my gosh. Or there's an orphan girl and a rich guy and they fall in love, and then she becomes sick with some terminal illness, and it's like such a tearjerker and she dies. But like you can see like 10 of them, but you're still hooked because you're like, they're still different. Even though it's like exactly the same. But
that's because they had a different actor in every scene. So there you go. So
different lines, but it was it's amazing. And again, having a company that has kimchi, which is a huge staple in Korean cuisine, I am so appreciative of what K-pop did globally, because I go out to markets and I'm selling not just kimchi, but I make rice bowls, and people actually know it. And I'm surprised. I'm like, kimchi?
And I've had your rice bowl. It's very good. And I've had our kimchi, and it's very good. So, and I have tons and tons. No, I listen, we're all for it. I think it's very cool. So, but here, let me just here roll. This is exactly, I think, what when people are listening to the show, this is going to help them out. Let me see if I can get it to work.
Two old farts. The best way to think as little as possible.
There you go. So, and we hope that's what we did for everybody here on New Year's Day. So there you go, guys. I thank you so much. So
Wait,
and
Roland,
Kim,
I want to. You have to let me know if I was right. Find out from your daughter. Ask her if she's a stay.
All right, I will. Can
well,
I just say
and
something? I've been
yeah,
listening quite a lot, listening to all these discussions about color and casting and
yeah,
so on, and I have to say, as someone who was born in one country, grew up in another, lived in another, I understand that people are concerned with all these parameters of people when they cast them, and you should. I feel. I mean, like Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise. Are you kidding me? Jack
right,
Reacher's 6'5". Tom is 5'7". That's a problem for me. You need to cast. You need to cast the character along the sentiment that the author intended. That being said, there's also a profession called acting, where it's quite healthy to have someone who is not necessarily the exact. You don't look for the exact carbon copy of the person. I mean, for example, Steve Carell has just appeared
right,
in a Netflix series called The Patient, and the character's Jewish, and he's not Jewish. And I got to tell you, I watched it, yeah, but the producers, the
right,
writers, are two Jewish men who specifically cast Steve Carell because
right,
that's what they wanted. They wanted his what he brings. I
right,
mean, Rachel mentioned singing ability. Well, Steve Carell brings something, and if you watch the show, you get what it is. The Jewish side is, I guess, important, but he pulls it off.
right,
He embodies the character. He gives it props. He honors what the character's about, and I think yes, I think if it's an Asian character, you should. And when I say Asian, you need to pick the country. People tend to say Asian, like
right,
Indian, Thai, Korean, Japanese, and you go, no, you need to be a little more specific. That's something I did find in the States quite interesting. As people go, there's just Asian people, and you go, wow, okay.
hmm,
You need to hone down which part
Mm-hmm.
of Asia you're
yep,
talking about. As someone who's lives on this continent, but having said that, yeah, get someone who's Thai, who's Korean. You need to. If the character's Korean, then get a Korean actor and so
right,
on. But out of that, I don't know. I think it's sometimes challenging if you get someone who's maybe a little off, slightly different, not too different. I mean, I think if you see Steve Carell in The Patient, I mean, he pulls it off. He
right.
looks, if there's such a thing as looking Jewish, he looks the part. He looks good. He looks authentic. Yeah, he looks better than you, Steve. I've got to tell you.
Everybody looks better than me, and this is with makeup and mirrors and everything. So this is the
I
best I
just
can do.
I want to pose one thing though, and this is
Okay.
just in sort of in light of what we're talking about K-pop, and then this whole need to sort of get the right person without offending people. Oh, this
Right,
whole
right,
offending thing is tiresome. I would hate to be a producer these days, especially in
yep,
Hollywood, because you're going to offend someone, and someone's going to be annoyed with someone that you did.
yep,
But if because at one point you have to acknowledge this, Rachel. This I do know. At one point there was quite a lot of backlash about English, any sort of lots of English in K-pop. That's now seems to have uh, that's gone, especially with outfits like BTS or things like Dynamite. They've done well, and people have gotten over that. So, which I think is good. I think it's good. I still think, as someone who follows it, I would still like K-pop artists to be Korean. I
Mm-hmm.
feel that.
yes,
Yeah. No,
But
that's
now, what happens? Because now we've opened the door, right? They can be English, they can be whatever. So now, as you open the door, all the other stuff comes in. What if you get some guy who I don't know? I know there's quite a lot of collaboration with Japan, there's Korea, Japan. There's some of the work in K-pop is Japanese, and let's just extend it further. What if you have some chap from I don't know one of the border countries? I don't know, maybe what's next to Korea? You've got
North
Thailand down.
Korea.
What
so.
if they move to? Because you watched Squid Game, right? You saw Squid Game. There was an
Mhm.
Indian actor who spoke perfect Korean. Could he sing in Korean and be a K-pop artist? Just wondering.
Sure, because Blackpink, Lisa.
Right.
She's Thai.
Oh, well, there you
She's
go.
not
Okay.
Korean. She had to learn Korean. She had
Good.
to learn to rap in Korean, learn, it so and she's and I don't know, Stray Kids, I think they're not all Korean. Are they all Korean?
Well, there are one of them, yeah, but the one guy is some of them are from Australia. They grew up in Australia and they've
Okay, because
now moved to Korea, and they
there's groups,
embrace.
like, I don't know if it's ATs but there's a lot of groups where there are um members who aren't Korean.
Good.
So
Okay.
it's so for like those members, because again, Lisa, huge, Blackpink, huge. They should make maybe a little Thai album song or something for
Yeah.
her, because she
Right.
had to learn Korean. It's like, let's appreciate that and do something for her other members. Let's learn some Thai for her or something. But yeah, ultimately you want it to be, I do like, as a Korean and loving and knowing K-pop, yeah, let's keep it Korean as much
You
as
want to keep
possible.
it. You want to keep it pure, basically. I
Yeah.
don't mean that in a bad way, but the purity. I'm not talking
Mhm.
like 1939 pure for Germany. I'm talking about the
Yeah, no,
purity
no, no,
of it's like, if you're K-pop, you're 90% of what you sing should be in Korean, and if you want to do
mhm.
10% in English or
That's
Thai
what I
or
said.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
so
It's like
that's
what
what I mean
Roland
by
was
pure.
saying.
I don't.
It
Yeah,
should
I'm not.
stay
I'm not talking about
Korean,
other things.
but
Yeah,
like I said, once in a while they have these like English
Yeah.
albums.
right,
But it's not like they're not gonna be completely English for the rest of it's just
right.
But
it's more
that's what
like
I
an
sorry.
appreciation
Yeah.
for
But
their
that's
other.
what I said earlier when I said, as someone who follows
Mhm.
the genre, I just hope they don't become like totally anglicized,
Yeah,
Right.
which then what are they? Then they're just another outfit, like
right,
everybody else.
right.
I think that makes them special. It makes them different in a good way. I mean, that's what I think. I hope then it's, in order to say K-pop, it's got to still have the
Right.
K-pop.
Right.
That's
Because
important.
It's got
I'm
to have
trying
the
to think,
K.
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
BTS have any more big Korean songs? Or like songs that were in Korean? I don't know. I don't really follow them. Because the last songs that I know is like Dynamite and Butter.
All right. But
I
yeah,
don't
but I
know.
mean
Like,
they've done well, and I think Stray Kids are going to do well. They
I'm
are
gonna
doing
have to
well.
try to look into some Stray Kids music, but I just can't get away from the I
She's got.
can't add any more. I'm already overwhelmed.
Yeah.
All I know is the next time somebody shows up in Texas that Rachel said we're going to go to a K-pop concert, that will be hysterical because
I'm
I have
gonna go
not been.
look one up. I don't
Okay,
even
I've
have
not.
to know who they are. Let's just go.
Okay, that's fine. I have never been. I've been to concerts. Like, I've been to AC/DC and Aerosmith, and the list will go on. I've never been to a K-pop. And she's like, "Oh yeah, it's really great." And everybody, and then she sent me some videos of it. Everyone's just like really
I mean,
chill. It's just like a
yeah,
whole different mindset. I'm like,
no,
this will be interesting.
it's so fun. The
Yeah.
energy, like the people who are there around you, they're just so into it that you
Okay.
can't help but feel good and have a good time. Well, have you gone to a concert with your daughter?
To a K-pop concert?
Yeah.
No, I'd love
Okay,
to.
that's your assignment too,
I'd
I
be there.
guess.
But I do know something. This I do know is the a lot of the bands have particular colors. And when you go to one of their concerts, everybody has like a, what is it, like one of these light
Light
stick
sticks.
thingies,
Yeah.
Yep.
and what's the outfit I'm thinking of? Is it the big? Oh, is it big? Is there an outfit called Big Bang? Big
Big
Bang?
Bang. Yeah, used to be a big group.
Yeah, they used to have gold or yellow was their color, and then everybody would wave those sticks. I will say, the fan base of the outfits is very organized. They have these, what do they call them? Like fan chants, and then
Fan chants, yeah.
and then they send them. I don't know. You can confirm this. Like when some of the outfits like BTS or BI or wherever, when they're practicing or rehearsing, they get sent stuff. There's actually services that allow you to send stuff to your outfit, the one that you follow. I
Mhm.
don't know. It's amazing, and they do some good things. I know there's a whole rice thing where you buy rice. I mean, can you confirm that for me? Something about rice, where you a lot of these outfits they do food drives, and so instead of, you can buy rice and then they will, I don't know, I heard this somewhere. It's in the back of my mind. Does this make sense? Have you heard of this, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, there's times, so a lot of the fandoms, there's big fan sites, they call them, I guess, where you go. The organizers or managers of these fan sites are actually in contact with the artists themselves,
Right.
and it's they'll give promotions, or they say, hey, the artist wants to um, support this charity right now or this cause. So instead of sending gifts to the artist, send it towards this charity. Or for
Right.
their birthdays, the fan sites will put on a huge um, thing for like, hey, for his birthday or her birthday, we're going to donate to this group that they've donated to in the past or that they've liked in the past for as a birthday gift to this artist.
Yeah. Well, I will say there's one group. I read this just the other day. I was quite surprised. There's apparently a big problem in Korea. They call it, what is it called, lonely deaths. Have you heard about this? Where sort of apparently it affects a lot of middle-aged men in Korea, where they're on their own. They pass away on their own. And last year there were something like 3,000 of these people that just no one even knew. And what astonished me is, I mean, South Korea is a very wealthy country, but apparently amongst the older people, and here's a charity that maybe they can get involved in. I was shocked. My daughter actually told me about this. Something like 30-40% of people over 65 are below the poverty line, which is astonishing. Wow. I couldn't believe that. For a country that is exploding like it is, I'm just saying maybe these K-pop outfits can,
There's a lot of
it's crazy.
there's a lot of poverty actually in Korea.
I was surprised. I was
It's
surprised
either-
when I heard that.
It's especially depending on Seoul is rich.
Right.
The major cities is rich, but even within the rich cities, there's so much poverty. And yeah, the elderly, for a country that is based on honoring your elders, a lot of the elders are forgotten. So, and I don't know why that is.
I was surprised when she told me that. I didn't actually believe her at first. I thought, come on, that can't be. And it seems to be, and it's quite a big problem. And it's an aging population, because I know the birth rate is not good too.
Part of it is, I think, as generations started to become more modernized, because back in the day, you had to live with your parents.
Right.
At marriage, the oldest son usually even if he gets married and has children, you live with your parents. You take care of them. The thought is they took care of you your whole life, so then you repay them by taking care of them through the rest of their lives. But as I guess the generations started to become more modern, because it's not easy taking care of your in-laws.
Oh,
Living with them. My mother had to live with my grandmother, her in-law.
Right.
And and my dad was the youngest baby son, the favorite. So there was a lot of politics within the house that you have to go around. My mom had to do a lot of and my dad too, he couldn't take one side over the other because or I mean, he has to at the dinner table take grandma's side. You have to.
Right.
You can't if you want a peaceful household. And then he has to be like at night to my mom, oh, but I was on your side, right? Like it was a lot of but as I guess the generation got more younger and modernized, they're like, we don't want to. And the parents too, they're like, we remember that we had to live with our in-laws or with our parents and how difficult it was. I don't want my children to have to do that. So you do not have to live with us. You do not have to take care of us. So, the people who are in their 60s and 70s now, they're the parents who said, don't worry about us. We want you to live your lives because we know what it's like to have basically served living out, taking care of our parents.
Right.
But and I think that's, so the children go out and start living their lives, and then they do forget their parents because their parents are always like, "We're fine, we're fine, we're fine."
Right.
And so they don't check up on them as
Yeah.
much because they're always telling them, "We're fine, we're okay. Don't
I think
worry
that's
about."
an old school mentality. I know before my mom passed, we took care of her for 3 years. So it was like, no, we're taking care of you. This is just the way it
Mhm.
goes. And she was like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm like, you're 90 something years old. You're not fine. So it's okay.
Right.
But I think that's the out that the kids give. It's like, oh, they said they're fine. They're not. You know what I mean? Like, unless they're living in a special facility or they have like a
Mhm.
staff of people, go take care of your parents. It's not going to kill you. So you
Right.
know what I mean? They give you so much. So last 3 years of her life took care of her. So it's like that's cool.
Mhm.
That's these like I think that's how it has to be. I think you have to do that,
Yeah. My
and I
parents
think
live
people
with
don't do it.
me, but they still take care of me. So, I mean, Steven saw I put my mom to work still, so.
She's like, Mom, I need the grass mowed. I'm gonna need the windows cleaned. I need the vacuum. The house needs to be painted. Dad, you got to shingle the roof. But see, that's nice. You're keeping them young, and that's the important thing. And that's how it should be.
Terrific.
So,
Terrific. Parents are great. I wish mine was still around, but they smoked themselves into an early grave, unfortunately. So
Mm.
there was that.
so
I
let's
would have
leave.
lots of fun.
We're gonna leave it with this. Wait, this is your favorite one you wanted to hear.
Two old farts, plunging the depths of humanity's futility.
And there, just for you, on a Happy New Year note. So, guys, Happy New Year. Hope Roll.
Happy
We know
New
you're
Year.
We know you're coming back in this year because we got a whole bunch of stuff for you with a different format. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Rachel, you are more than welcome whenever you could decide that you can wake up and join us on our
I'm
shows.
staying in bed all day.
I know, but whenever you want to be on one of the shows with Raul and us, you know how to get. We'll send you the invite. You come and enjoy, and that's it. And we'll see you guys the rest of the year. So thank you so much for both of you getting up early today. Raul, thanks for staying up late. And David, we missed you. Not really. And we'll see you on the next bunch of shows. Bye, guys. Cheers.
Bye.
Hold on.